Hello everyone and welcome to another custom figure showcase, and today I'm going to be showing you something which people have been asking me to do for many years, probably as long as I started putting customs on YouTube. People have been asking me to do this, but I've never gotten around to it before because I never had any spare Ainley heads. But obviously, as many of you will know, or those of you who have seen the video, I recently had to go at casting my own, and so once I'd cast my own heads, the idea of doing the body was suddenly a lot more easy. In fact, doing the body was the easy part. It was the head was the clincher. But of course, this is the Anthony Ainley Master, but as he appeared in Survival. So to start off with, I'll do a quick close-up on the head, because the head is one of the ones that I have cast and I've painted up. It's not perfect, but it's come out very well. I'm very pleased with how it's come out. It's come out looking very much like he did. I did consider painting him with sort of cheetah eyes, the red orange eyes, but I preferred just to keep it as standard because I think it just looked a bit better. And then the overall body, just to put it back in shot. So overall, this is actually a Saxon Master, a Harold Saxon Master figure. And then all I've done over the top is I haven't actually removed anything from the figure on this. I've literally just sculpted over the front. The collars on the front have all been re-sculpted, and then I've sculpted over the tie, and then the bow tie is actually from a third Doctor, which I've then cut off and put into place, and then the belt is just sculpted on. I say I haven't actually removed anything. I did remove the pockets, as you can see on the lower part of the waistcoat, just because it looked better without pockets, so I decided it would be better to remove them. But the interesting thing about this, which I have mentioned before, and I actually still have it spare here, now this is actually the body of the Ainley Master, the original Ainley Master that the head came from. And those of you who've watched my reviews, and I've talked about this before, is that with the exception of the waistcoat, with the coat sculpt, sorry, because the waistcoat is part of the coat sculpt, with the exception of the coat, this is exactly the same base figure as the Anthony Ainley Master, as the Saxon Master. So they're actually more or less the identical figure. So the other thing I will just mention I've forgotten is I swapped over some Delgado gloved hands. But if you've got the spare hands and you've got a spare Ainley figure, now personally I wouldn't recommend taking apart an Ainley figure because they are so rare, but if you do have one spare, it would be perfectly possible for you to make all the modifications on this figure on the standard Ainley figure. So there's not really any reason to go and you know, unless you want to keep the Ainley head spare. And if it was me, I would recommend going down the route of casting your own Ainley heads, because then obviously you can use them more than once. But if you do have an Ainley figure spare and you don't want to cast your own heads, pretty much all you've got to do is make the changes of adding the extra sculpted bits onto the base Ainley figure, and you've got a survival Ainley figure. It's so simple to do, and it's come out really well. I think it really does look the part. I was a little bit worried that the tunic, that the coat, the shirt coat, the suit coat, sorry, wouldn't be the right length, but I think it's worked out very well. It really does look the part. So it is one that I'm very pleased with, and as those of you who follow my Instagram will know, I cast some more Ainley heads. I cast another 2, so I do have another couple of Ainley customs coming in future. They are teased on my Instagram, so by all means go and have a look at those. Please go and have a look at them, because I do tease sort of figures and things that I'm working on in the meantime. But yeah, I'm really pleased to have finally put this one together, because it is one that I've always wanted to do. It's one that I've always wanted in my collection, and it's just nice to have as a figure, because I think if we ever... this is one of those figures that I have to say, I look at this actually, and this is one of those figures that character options could do it. They really could do it, on the basis that the only difference here is, going back to the Ainley figure, pretty much the only difference here is I've swapped over the hands, obviously, so I get the feeling if CO did do a re-release of this, they'd keep the Ainley figure, they'd repaint the hands, but all they would really need to do is create a new jacket sculpt. Again, like they've already done for the Ainley figure, because it's the same as the Saxon Master figure. You know, they've already done it once. There's no reason why they couldn't do it again. And all they'd have to do is add on the new collars. They have to add on the new shirt front bit over the top, and obviously the belt buckle. But it could be done. It really could be done. As I've said previously in other videos, I think The reason it seems that we've never got any Ainley figure releases is allegedly there are disagreements between the BBC character options, one of those two or both of them, and Auntie Ainley's estate, that they will not re-release use of his likeness. Allegedly that is the reason. It's never really been confirmed, but I've never managed to find anything else that contradicts it, and it would explain why we've never had Ainley new releases but also Ainley re-releases. So yeah, I think it's unlikely that we're probably going to see any Ainley. I think it's unlikely we're going to see any Ainley variants. So I think it's unlikely we're going to see any re-releases. But if they ever do decide to do it, this would be a brilliant one to do, and I think it would work out very well. What I really wouldn't want to see, and I get the feeling I'm going to jinx it slightly saying this, so I apologise, is I get the feeling that what character options would do is they would, in fact, I'm going to try and put up a picture on the side of the screen to sort of illustrate what I'm talking about here. But I get the feeling if character options decided to re-release Ainley and they want to do a survival version, we would end up with a blue, we'd end up with the standard Ainley figure, but they would repaint the hands blue, the waistcoat would be blue, and the tie would be blue, and that's pretty much what we'd get as a survival variant. I think that would be a real shame. So character options, if you are watching this, I know you're never probably going to watch my videos, but if you are, please don't do that. Please give us an updated sculpt, because it's what the fans would want. If you do get the chance to re-release an Ainley figure and you do decide to do a survival variant, please put work into it, because I know for a fact that it is something that the fans would love to see, and it really is something that would stand out well and also sell well, but on the proviso that it was done properly. But that brings to a close another custom figure showcase. As always, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot. Be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. I'm doing my very first figure animation, and you can get involved. There's exclusive content and rewards for those who do so, and funding my Patreon in any way gets your name at the end of my videos. I salute you all, and I will see you in another video very soon.